It's time to get your news on. We are VK1WIA.
Yes, it certainly is the WIA National News for week commencing April 9, 2023. And this week we start with a reminder. And we'll also have WIA Director and Company Secretary along with that King of Dudes, Roger Harrison. And we'll finish with a couple of reminders, this time when both VK4DN and VK2ZHE join us in the social scene. Oh, and there's much more in this edition of news from the Wireless Institute of Australia. I'm Editor Graham, VK4 Bunny. That's right, it's the Easter edition, VK4BB.
Ham Radio News. Nobody does it better. We are VK1WIA.
Pedal power. Stuart, VK3UAO, will be activating Parks along his bicycle journey from Melbourne to the Pilger Parkfest. He has departed this Easter weekend and over the next 3 weeks will cover over 1,000 kilometres and will be meeting up with around 20 fellow hams at the Pilger Parkfest. That's April 29 and 30. Stuart, VK3UAO, will be posting regularly to his QRZ page. Now, Cole will cover more POTA, that is, Parks on the Air, as we travel towards the 30-minute mark in this, your WIA News. Now, don't forget, ACMA is seeking feedback on draft FYSO 2023-28. Here's Peter, VK8ZZ.
The Australian Communications and Media Authority is the regulatory authority for all radio communications in Australia. They have just released their draft 5-year spectrum outlook for the period 2023 through 2028. The draft 5-year spectrum outlook provides a broad overview of trends that affect spectrum management and factors used to inform the ACMA's planning and spectrum allocation priorities. It includes a detailed annual work program with activities and milestones for the 2023 through 2024 financial year. The ACMA and the WIA are committed to working together in support of amateur radio in Australia. The draft 5-year spectrum outlook is the key part of their engagement with industry and the community on their spectrum management priorities. The ACMA welcomes feedback by the close of business on Friday the 28th of April. The Wireless Institute of Australia will provide feedback on the 5-year spectrum outlook, as has been the norm. The feedback is prepared by the WIA Spectrum Strategy Committee and endorsed by the board of the WIA prior to submission to the ACMA.
We are VK1WIA.
Hey dudes, it's Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, Editor-in-Chief of Amateur Radio Magazine. For those of you in the bush patiently awaiting the arrival of issue 2, it occurred to me that you might be passed to a bit of poetry in the style of the bush ballads of yesteryear. Those vernacular versaramas often carried a gentle message, not necessarily a comment on the times, but observations on human nature. For those of you who've already received your issue 2, turn back to page 4 and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's titled, Said Harry Ham. The bands are ruined, said Harry Ham, in accents all forlorn, outside the club, down by the dam, one early Saturday morn. The members then attending slumped with chins upon their chests, breathing low, yet barely pumped, while deciding what was best. A loudly whine and sorry rave was what the members feared from Harry Ham and his mate Dave, the pair that no one cheered. Another member soon chimed in. What is your beef there, mate? Tell us, don't mutter in your chin. Whom solar signs aren't great. He spoke, the members shocked at Harry's verbal drought. No wonder now the club room rocked. They marvelled at the rout. I tell you now that son of ours exhibits feeble thrust, but science says the cycle's fit to capture all our trust. The president turned to remonstrate with doubters, sceptics all, asked Dave and Harry to debate that early Saturday morn. And round it went, all in that hall, till they were verbally worn. They came upon consensus all that early Saturday morn. I stole that on the poem titled Said Hanrahan, some of you will recognise it, by one John O'Brien. Ironically, O'Brien was the pen name of Patrick Joseph Hartigan, a man of the cloth, as they used to say. You can come out from under your shack benches now. There's much more better stuff to be found in this issue. The grammar lapse is deliberate. Microsoft Word gave me only 88% score. Tough. Amateur Radio Magazine, Volume 91, Issue Number 2 for 2023. Serving Australian radio amateur dudes for 90 years on the trot. Available in print and online. Always published to a schedule. Never random or half-heartedly slapped together. This is Editor-in-Chief Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, for VK1WIA News.
Thanks, Roger. Well, one moment from the hymn book, then the Bush Balladier's Book of Poems, Wonders Never Cease, which take me to a special introduction to this next report from a guy who realises the power of the WIA National News Service. And to all contributors, remember, the earlier you get the material in, the more the likelihood of it making the very next edition. As the old Carney Spruikers said, no waiting, no delay.
Good Harvard, this is Gemini 4. I see the lights of a town down below me.
Victor India 6 Charlie Romeo Oscar is the special event call sign for the Carnarvon Eclipse event to be held at the Carnarvon Space and Technology Museum on April the 17th to the 23rd. The primary operator and main instigator is Dan VK6 November Alpha Delta. The station will be on air in several blocks between the 17th to the 23rd of April, primarily operating an FT101E HF station, along with special attention to 2 metre and 70 centimetre satellite modes. Subject to operator availability, the station will operate the NOAA weather satellites up to 11 a.m, the International Space Station amateur satellites, subject to satellite passes, and the HF station will be on air from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m, and the times are all WA standard time, which is UTC plus 8. There's a dedicated web page for VI6CRO at vk6.net. And for those who don't know, CRO was the Carnarvon Space Station's NASA call sign. So it's over to you now to get on air and spread the word, as the station will need band activity during the museum operating hours, with 600 plus members of the public expected to observe our activities throughout the event. WA Amateur Radio News designed and printed a bundle of handouts which direct the person to Ham College for Western Australians and to a list of amateur radio clubs nationwide. So do please monitor your club's email address. You may pick up prospective new amateurs. Keep an eye on the vk6.net website for updates, and links are in the text edition of the news. I'm Bob VK6POP for VI6 Charlie Romeo Oscar.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service. We are VK1WIA. Now, international news with VK2LAW Jason.
And as always, international news is with thanks to IARU, RSGB, RAC, ARRL, NZART, Amateur Radio Newsline, EHAM, RadioWorld.com, and the worldwide sources of the WIA. In just days, 2023 World Amateur Radio Day will be celebrated literally around the world. World Amateur Radio Day is held on April 18 every year and is celebrated by radio amateurs and their national associations, which are organised as member societies of the International Amateur Radio Union, IARU. It was on this day in 1925 that the IARU was formed in Paris. American Radio Relay League ARRL co-founder Hiram Percy Maxim was its first president. The IARU announced previously that Human Security for All, Hotel Sierra 4 Alpha, will be this year's World Amateur Radio Day theme. The day is being celebrated with a 2-week operating event occurring April 11 to 25. Special event stations will be operating from around the world, making 2-way radio contacts to call attention to the Hotel Sierra 4 Alpha campaign. The United Nations Trust Fund for Human Security describes human security as a more powerful, lasting approach to the most difficult deficits in peace and development, such as poverty, war, and natural disasters. ARRL encourages all radio amateurs to take to the airwaves for World Amateur Radio Day to enjoy our global friendship with other amateurs and to show our skills and capabilities to the public. A number of IARU member societies have already become active. For example, the German DARC team has activated the special event call sign Delta Alpha 23 WARD, and are on the air until the 18th of April. Another society marking World Amateur Radio Day is the UBA Special Events Station in Belgium, using the call sign Oscar Tango 23 WARD, active until the end of April. Yet another from South Africa, where the SARL has issued Zulu Sierra 9 WARD, which will be active until the 30th of April on various bands and modes. To news from Region 1, the coronation of the King and the Queen Consort. The RSGB Coronation Events Coordinator Alan Messenger, Golf Zero Tango Lima Kilo, says the RSGB has planned many events and have created activity suggestions for how UK radio amateurs can mark the coronation in their own way. Some of these activities are just for radio amateurs, but in keeping with the coronation theme of community, the RSGB have included several outreach ideas where radio amateurs can involve their local communities. These include celebratory call signs, prefixes and suffixes. A flagship special event station in Greenwich, London. B-Connect, connecting the ancient fire beacon sites around the UK by amateur radio. The UK has a network of ancient fire beacons whose original purpose was to signal major events between what were then more isolated communities. They've been used since at least Roman and Anglo-Saxon times. They've also historically been used to mark royal events, but they're not being lit for the 2023 coronation, so the RSGB would love to use amateur radio to link the sites of this ancient signalling network to showcase amateur radio. In news from Region 2, Maryland is a mid-Atlantic US state, and its largest city is Baltimore. Howard County in Maryland is home to scientist Dan Wilt, who's been presented with the Emergency Management Volunteer of the Year award by county officials for his dedication to safety and advancing emergency response capabilities in the county. Dan Wilt is a member of the Columbia Amateur Radio Association and leads the Howard County Radio Amateur Civil Emergency Service. Dan has a special and often unrecognised set of technical skills as an amateur radio operator and chooses to support his community. Many people might not know about the critical role these radios could play in an emergency, but they would be invaluable to communications' ability to respond to neighbours' needs if phones, power or other communication systems were unavailable. The award annually recognises an individual who volunteers time through the Howard County community organisations active in disaster to assist the county in preparing for, responding to and mitigating or recovering from emergency incidents or disasters. Well done that man, Dan the Ham. Rossville, Georgia, on the border with Tennessee and the USA, doesn't look like a tech town. The population is just under 4,000. But, in the view of entrepreneur Charles Whitener, Rossville is the perfect place to stage a revival in US technology and manufacturing, albeit with a device that was cutting edge when the Ford Model A ruled the roads. Whitener owns Western Electric, the last US manufacturer of vacuum tubes, those glass and metal bulbs that controlled current in electric circuits before the advent of the transistor made them largely obsolete. Tubes are still prized for high-end hi-fi equipment and by music gear companies such as Fender for their distinctive sound. But most of the world's supply comes from manufacturers in Russia and China, which after the transistor era began in earnest in the 1960s, helped sunset the US vacuum tube industry by driving down prices. Whitener, a 69-year-old self-described inventor, bought and revived AT&T's vacuum tube business in 1995. Now as I leave you this week, some words from Peter Parker. VK3 Yankee Echo, well, it is April. Hi.
Having problems getting contacts on amateur repeaters? Well, here's 10 surefire tips for success. First up, you could drop a 20-second carrier with alternator whine, 50Hz hum, or weak audio. That will get people responding. Or maybe instead a snatch of music or audio from the car radio if you're mobile. You could try a somewhat longer carrier with no ID, but extra points if your audio is a bit broken. Or you could try super broad slurred accent with some CB lingo thrown in 10-4. Or maybe number 5, some words in another language with no audible call sign. Or you could fiddle with the settings in your transceiver and give it a Roger beep, and maybe laugh as well. Some identified retransmissions for another band, or a YouTube video. Well, that could really draw out the crabs. Or maybe singing or humming either a known or made-up song. Or you could even mutter a series of words, mostly unintelligible except for Baofeng. Or you could just call CQ. Try these 10 tips and you're sure to get a response. I didn't say a contact, I said a response. But a response is a necessary condition for a contact, so maybe try them anyway.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's national news service. We are VK1WIA. Now, operational news with VK4FUQ. Felix.
Hello there. Now, contest-wise 2023. Yoda contest. Youngsters on the air. First round is getting warmer. It's on 22nd of April, 0800 hours to 1959 hours UTC. May 6th, Saturday, Harry Angel Memorial Sprint, 106 minutes, an annual 80-metre contest event. First established in 1999 to commemorate the life of Harry Angel, VK4WIA, who at the time of his becoming a silent key was the oldest licensed amateur in Australia, at 106. The duration of the contest is 106 minutes, 1 minute for each year of Harry's life. The Harry Angel Memorial Sprint has been run annually since 1999. It is usually held on the first Saturday in May each year, 10 hours UTC to 11:46 UTC. May 2021, Don Edwards Memorial Slow Morse Contest, begins a weekend after Mother's Day. 80-metre section, Saturday 20th of May, 6 to 9 p.m. Sydney time. 40-metre section, afternoon of Sunday 21st of May, 1 to 4 p.m. Sydney time. June 24-25, Winter VHF UHF Field Day, 0100 hours UTC Saturday 24 to 0059 hours UTC Sunday 25. But in VK6, add 3 hours on the start and end times. June weekend prior to the second Monday of June, VK Shires. Also make a mental note that the 2023 QRP Day happens June 17. IARU HF World Championship Contest takes place the second full weekend of July, beginning 1200 hours UTC Saturday and ending 1200 hours UTC Sunday, July 8 and 9. All licensed amateurs worldwide are eligible to participate in this contest, as the objective is to contact as many other amateurs as possible, especially IAA member society HQ stations around the world, using the 160, 80, 40, 20, 15 and 10 metre bands. July 15, Trans-Tasman Low Band Contest. Held on the third weekend in July, aims to encourage low band activity between VK and ZL. 160, 80 and 40 metres are allowed with SSB, CW and digital, RTTY or PSK. DX Window. Graham Alston, VK3GA, Awards Manager, joins us.
6 metre, single band and 10 band DXCC now available. The Awards Committee is pleased to announce the addition of both 6 metre DXCC and 10 band DXCC awards. With the steady rise in sunspots in Solar Cycle 25, several operators are closing in on these prestigious milestones. 73 from Graham Alston, VK3GA, Awards Manager.
Western Suburbs Branch 03 of the NZART will be running a special station to commemorate Anzac Day this year, between 0800 hours and 2000 hours. All bands FT8 and SSB. Call sign ZL1PPY. India. Special event station AT2G20 is QRV until June 2 to promote greater international cooperation through amateur radio, in conjunction with the G20 Summit, to be held in New Delhi, September 9 and 10. QSL via operator's instructions. DR100 X-Ray will be active until the end of June. It's a special call sign commemorating the 100th anniversary of the death of Willem C. Röntgen, the physicist whose discovery of X-rays earned him the inaugural Nobel Prize in Physics in 1901 and revolutionised diagnostic medicine. QSL via the Bureau or direct to DJ6SI. In celebration of the 25th anniversary of the establishment of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China on the 1st of July 1997, Hong Kong licensed amateurs are granted the use of the special prefix VR25 until the 30th of June 2023. The VR2 Contest Club and the Hong Kong Amateur Radio Transmitting Society will be using VR25CC and VR25HK, respectively. For VK1WIA National News, I'm Felix, VK4FUQ Inningham.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service. We are VK1WIA. Now, Special Interest Group News with VK3GTV. Cole.
Hello, welcome to the segment. First up, it's something really important, and that's for me to thank John, VK4JJW, for filling in for me last week. Now it's on to worldwide special interest group news, parks on the air, and other adventure groups. Listen for K0MIK. Amateur radio activity honours African American heritage. Parks on the Air, or POTA, sites that honour African American heritage are the focus of an operating event organised by the OMIK Amateur Radio Association. The OMIK POTA Challenge 2023 will run until the 31st of December. OMIK was founded in 1952 by black amateur radio operators. While it's still a predominantly African-American organisation, today it represents a multiracial, multicultural organisation with members from the US and around the globe, and is an ARRL-affiliated club. OMIK members are encouraged to activate sites using the OMIK club call sign K0MIK. The group has a list of suggested sites that are known to have a significant role in African American history. They hope at least 5 unique national parks will be activated as part of the POTA event, contributing to a total of at least 10 successful activations. Worldwide Special Interest Group News, ATV. Every Pixel Tells a Story. Ham is a short documentary that follows a group of Montana, USA amateur radio enthusiasts that show the fading but loyal community of amateur radio, explore what it means to be a ham, and how they're keeping the hobby alive. Produced by students from the School of Visual and Media Arts program at the University of Montana in 2022, it aired on Montana PBS on November 24th of that year. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Final Frontier, contacting the International Space Station. Some ISS crew members make unscheduled contacts with hams on the ground. They can make radio contacts during their breaks, pre-sleep time, and before and after meal times. The crew's usual waking period is 0730 to 1930 UTC. The most common times to find the crew members making casual contacts are about 1 hour after waking and before sleeping. The ISS crew uses the following call signs: DP0 ISS, IR0 ISS, NA1SS, OR4 ISS, and RS0 ISS. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Radio Amateur Old-Timers. 86 years of age and still volunteering. Warren Wild is the Emergency Services Director for Franklin County in the USA, and he's preparing for flooding this year. He ordered 15,000 sandbags ready for residents to fill and take to protect their homes. Residents have filled and taken 10,000 sandbags already, so Warren ordered 10,000 more. It's a work in progress, he said. The 86-year-old has been the emergency director since 1979. Warren said he can talk to people all over the world with his ham radio and can also use local and state radios. He added that they also have an emergency operations centre in the county building where the Deputy Emergency Coordinator, Lamont Doney, can jump in and direct the work. Warren has both amateur and commercial licences. He and the 22 other active ham radio operators in Franklin County can all run on battery-powered handheld radios on a snowmobile if all other communication goes down. Worldwide special interest groups, Rescue Radio, amateur radio included in FEMA Guide for National Emergency Preparedness. With that story, John, VK4JJW, as I mentioned, who stepped in for me last week, joins us again.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency in the USA has released a final version of the National Incident Management System Information and Communications Technology Functional Guidance. The guidance, which provides a framework for communications resources within incident management, officially includes support from amateur radio operators. This illustrates that at the highest level, trained and qualified amateur radio operators are considered a valuable emergency communications resource.
Thanks, John. Still with Rescue Radio and in Northern Ireland, members of Bush Valley Amateur Radio Club organised an event to help the Helicopter Emergency Medical Service, HEMS, charity. The charity's operational helicopter carries a crew comprising a pilot, doctor and paramedic 365 days of the year. They attend some of the most traumatic medical incidents across the province and are dedicated to delivering the very best possible pre-hospital critical care, both at the scene and whilst transferring the patient to hospital. Well done to Bush Valley AR Club. And that wraps up the segment for me this week. Enjoy the Easter break and please take extra care on the roads if you're travelling. I'm Cole, VK3GTV.
This is VK1WIA. All points of contacts from today's news stories are to be found in print when you read the web editions, www.wia.org.au.
2023 social scene in VK4. It's the Bundaberg Amateur Radio Club's Hamfest, Saturday, April 15.
CQ, calling all radio and electronic enthusiasts. I'm David, VK4 Delta November. The Bundaberg Amateur Radio Club is excited to invite you to our open day and our first ever Hamfest on Saturday the 15th of April. The event will be held at the Recreational Precinct, the old Agro Trend Grounds opposite the Bundy Airport. Entry into the event is free. Come and check out our amazing display of vintage World War II radios and Morse code demonstrations, as well as see some of the latest state-of-the-art modern radio gear. You can also see our automatic satellite tracking system in action. If you're interested in obtaining your amateur radio licence and call sign, we'll be happy to provide you with all the information you need. Kids can participate in a free soldering workshop under supervision and make a small electronic kit that they can take home. So it's fun for the whole family. Hungry? We got you covered with our delicious sausage sizzle. And if you're on the lookout for a bargain, be sure to check out the Hamfest tables with heaps of radio and electronic items for sale. There are several prize giveaways, including a new DMR Alinco radio and a high-quality digital soldering station, as well as a number of other prizes. Please don't miss out on this exciting event. Mark Saturday the 15th of April on your calendar and come join in the fun. For more information, please contact the Bundy Radio Club Secretary, VK4DN, on 0410 121 345. See you there. I'm David, VK4 Delta November.
From Bundy down to Druin West, April 15 and 16, it's Antennapalooza. Also in VK3, Moorabbin Hamfest, May 6. And in VK2, the Oxley Region's 47th Annual Field Day at Wauchope.
I'm Henry, VK2ZHE, President of the Oxley Region Amateur Radio Club. The Oxley Region Amateur Radio Club's 47th Annual Field Day will be held at the Wauchope Showground Hall on Saturday and Sunday, the 10th and 11th of June 2023, during the New South Wales King's Birthday long weekend. There'll be all the usual field day activities, including traders, trash and treasure, fox hunting and a homebrew display. The field day dinner will be held at the Port Macquarie Golf Club on the Saturday night. Mark your calendar now for the June long weekend. The Wauchope Showground permits camping, so it's possible to stay on site in your own motorhome, caravan or tent with power and amenities, but you must book ahead with the showground caretaker. I'm Henry, VK2ZHE, for VK1WIA News.
With all those reminders, I'm Graham, VK4BB, with one final reminder. Tune us in again next week for the WIA National News Service. Have a great Easter and walk softly.
From Australia, this has been the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
Courtesy of Bevan, VK1WIA's ATV and YouTube channel, this has been WIA National News. We're back now, live and local, and your voice, your callbacks. And don't forget, tick like.